Okay, we're going to be taking a quick look here at how to get some content on the page from a PSD file like we get from Zimmer. And what we're wanting to do is not make this look nice. We're just wanting to get all of this stuff on there. And we're going to be starting with the text, and then we can worry about the images after that. But we're not even going to do any of the images yet, except for some very basic ones, I guess, maybe. But let's start that again. we're going to be taking the PSD file over here that we have from Zimmer and then getting it posted onto the web. We're going to be taking the content from there and getting the basics of it on the web. We're not going to be worrying about formatting everything just right. We just want everything to be in the proper place. And so as you look over here at this file, then you have some different sections of it. We have a header type section right here, and it's called the header because it's like a head, because the head goes at the top. And so then this is the header. And so we want to keep that in mind as we go through and try to organize our content correctly. We have a menu section down here, and then the menu is a menu, and so then it should be categorized accordingly. We have what will be a slideshow section right here. Now, there's nothing about this that says it's a slideshow, but it's just reasonable to try to make things slideshows when possible when it's on the home page like this, and that way it's always available to use. And that way, if it's needed, if they don't ever want to have another image there, that's fine, it will still work, but we're going to get it loaded up that way anyway. We have an image over here, and we have some text, and that's going to be in a more middle type section of the page. So we have kind of a top section, a middle section, a bottom type section here with all their services, and we have something down here at the bottom that's kind of a footer type thing. And we can either make this footer be something that shows up everywhere, or we could make this be something that just shows up on the home page. We'll just stick with the home page for now on this one, but maybe sometimes that might be something that could be good just everywhere since it fits in so nicely on the bottom of the page. And then we have a sub footer or a second footer or something down here, and that's basically how we're thinking of this. And so we're going to look at all this content here. Now we're going to come over to the website, and when you first look at the website, then nothing is set up in a reasonable way. What we have here is a theme copied over from Bush, and the way we did that was we were here in File Manager from cPanel. To get to File Manager, you come in here. Normally it's not in a long line like this, but we have a smaller window than usual so we can see this all on one screen. And so you click on File Manager, you come in here, and then we have test sites. And underneath test sites, we have these different websites that we've worked on. Some of these need to be deleted now. We don't really want to keep this hanging out there forever. But we have these different ones on here. And we have Bush up here. And so then we have our WP content, and then underneath that we have themes, and then within that we have Outreach Pro. And what you can do is simply right click on it and then click copy, and then you put in the name instead of Bush right there. You put in the name of whatever website you're working on. In this case it's SGC, just the ending of it, you know. And then you can click copy files, and then it will instantly magically appear over there, and everything will be wonderful and good. And I don't need that open there anymore. And now we come over here, and we've already activated this theme, but if we had not, we would click activate on the Outreach Pro theme and make sure that Genesis was already activated too, of course. And we have all that as we want. Go in here to WP Admin. I'm going to stretch this out for a moment so that we can see a little more clearly how this is set up. So you see we have our sections on here, and we have our header right section. Even though it says right, you can ignore that right part. It's really just header, and at some point I will change that. And the header section can go and control things up here. So some of the things from our PSD we'll be putting in this section. Primary and secondary sidebar are things that go on other pages, not the home page. Before header, then I don't know if we'll be using that even this time or not. We might. Yeah, we probably will. We'll probably go ahead and use before header for this little call us today type section, because that kind of goes right up the top of the header. But we can put it in header right too. Either way could be okay. Now as you're taking content from over here and putting it in these places, if you're wrong, it's not a huge deal. All I need to do, if it already existed and I think, no, that's stupid, why did you put it there? Then I can just drag it up to wherever I want it to go. So as long as it gets close to right, that's fine with me. No big deal. And so we've got these different things here. Top, well, that would be like the slideshow. Mid, well, that's going to be this section in here. Now you could do everything in the middle, but that's a lot of widgets to have in there. And generally, you want to try to keep it kind of clean on the number of widgets, where you don't want more than about 5 or 6. And that gets to be a problem. If you have more than that, then I can do it just fine. It's not that I can't. I mean, we could do it all under one section, and there would be no problem with it. It just gets kind of clunky looking at the CSS code later on and seeing, oh man, I've got home-top colon nth child 17, and then it's easier just to say home-top nth child 1, 2, 3, like that. If that doesn't make sense, that's fine, but it's just easier to try to split it up in the right way. Subfooter left and right, I really need to get rid of those because I don't care about those. But footer 1, then we can, well, anyway, so bottom is what we'll do with our services, and then footer 1, then we can do the quote thing there, and then footer 2 will have the menu and contact information there. I guess we don't have any social media stuff on this page. And they have social media though, so they're going to want that on here. So I think Tim probably just forgot. I'm still going to put it on there just like it's looked on the other websites that have been just like this. So we've got all that stuff reviewed. Okay, so it can get a little complicated with the header image and in this case, then this other image that goes along with it, the name there. And so I don't really think it's worth your while to try to mess around with that. It wouldn't be anything that would be all that helpful. So you can just leave it as it is, but get the other parts in place. And so we do see here that they have a section up here though that says call us today, and then they have a fake number in there. And then we can take a text widget, and that would be the easiest thing to use. And this will go in the before header section. It's kind of before the header. It's really in the header, but it's just easier to separate it in this way. And then you can enter this in. Hopefully you enter it in the right way, but if you don't, then I'll be fine. And so in this case, then we're going to be doing it in here. 573 555 5555, and then you can just click save. And if you look at the website, then we got it in that little spot right there already, because it was set up basically like that before. Now it looks like we have a hard line there instead of a soft line, so I'll have to replace that image eventually. And it's also not red, but that's fine. Close enough. And then we can move on to this menu section here. And in this case, then we don't have a menu created yet, so we know we need to create the menu. We don't have these pages yet, and so we need to create the pages. And we need 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't need to create a home page. That's going to be created separately. We need an About Us page, and you don't need to do anything else with it right now. Just publish it. It exists. That's good enough for me. And now those are all published, and we want to create a menu. I guess we need a name. You can name it whatever you want. It really doesn't matter at all. And then we want to view all, make sure we get them all. And take all those over here. And the order should be home, about us, services, testimonials, and contact. We save the menu. Take a look over here. And it doesn't show up because that's not the way we're doing it. And so we can take the custom menu widget here and place it here in header right. Oh, I need to update this so that exists. Main, save. There we go. And see, it's looking like Bush and Patchett, but don't worry about that. it's getting us close enough. Now, we move along to the home top section, and we're going to be making a slideshow. I don't think it exists yet. Nope, so we're going to do add new. We'll just call it home for simplicity's sake. We actually have this image already saved from earlier. And it's this one right here, slide 1. Now we're going to be doing this text here in a way that it is not a part of the image itself. Again, for simplicity's sake, it makes it easier for the client. So we're just going to type in here, hard work, great products, Oxford comma, and honest customer service. And then we will click save. We need to configure this to be the correct size, and I really didn't notice before what the right size was for that. We can take a look. And 13 by 246. Now we click publish, and we get this little shortcode. Copy it, and then in the home top section, I'm just going to grab a text widget, put that in there. We got it, and that's all that we're going to be having in that top section. Next, we're going to be having these things going on here, and if things are lined up kind of in a column type way, then you always go top to bottom, but as we're getting these things set up, but then you go left to right then in the order after that, as would be natural. No reason you couldn't do it the other way in theory, but it makes a lot more sense to do it this way. And so we have an image, and this is going to be in the mid section, and I actually already have this image, but if you don't have this stuff from the work you've done in the previous video, then even just doing this part, even without having the images set up, just getting the image widget in place is even helpful. And so we have that there, and we want it to be full size, and there's no title that goes with it. There's two different ways we can do this. It can be done so that all the content, all this text stuff, is a part of this one widget, or we can make it so that we have two widgets, a text widget and an image widget. I'm inclined to make it the image widget. It's a little bit simpler on the coding side afterward. So all that we would need then is some text that says view more photos, and so that would be going to, well, you would think it would go to a photos page, but then there's not one that really exists right now on there. I wonder if there should be a page that says like our work or something like that. For now we'll just make it go to /photos, and it doesn't matter if it really goes anywhere useful at the moment. View more photos, and we don't need any more text there. We got it, and now after that we'll add a text widget. Another way you can do these things too is to just click on them and then they go right in there. And so then our title is going to be this here. Quick comment in a moment on the way that these things are working. So that replaced the font there because I didn't have that on my system. It shouldn't matter for you because I'm going to be having a copy of this as well. But when I'm going through these things, then I have the font mess up, and then I hit Control-Z. That way I get to go back to the original, so I don't ever lose out on the way it was supposed to look originally. And then here's our content. It's a weird thing on the end here. Not sure why that's there. That's okay. My life will continue. Those have been made into separate paragraphs. I don't want them to be separate paragraphs though. I think that was a bad decision. If Tim wants me to change it back, that's fine. And we have a learn more button there. And so we want to just go ahead and put that right here in the text widget. I think that will be the easiest thing to do. And so this is probably should be going to About Us. And really it should have the whole thing. And then for a button, you have the same sort of thing inside it. So you have the link on the outside, button on the inside. If you don't do this button part, that's fine. You could just type learn more at the bottom, and that's totally fine with me. And we have it like that. We want to go ahead and click automatically add paragraphs. Then we go down to the bottom, and each one of these is an image widget. And so we need 5 image widgets in the home bottom section. And so we'll do it this way because that really is faster in this case. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got carried away. Sorry. Got sleepy there for a moment. I already did the first image over here, and I'll go ahead and do the rest of these real quick. If you are watching this right now, there's a good chance you are. I don't really know how you would know what was going on otherwise. And we changed these over to 96 by 96 as we were going through them earlier. We just didn't do them all. I'm going to finish those real quick. I don't know why these are all different sizes on the way that they were created. But we want some consistency. What am I looking at here? I don't know what that is. Anybody? Siding. I see. I just would not have thought of that as being siding. Windows and doors. But what sort of icon do you use for siding? I don't really know much of anything. I guess that's fine. That's as good as anything. You can't always just change the size of these things as easily as what I'm doing right now, but these are vectors, and so then vector smart objects, and so that means that I can get away with it right now and make it whatever size I want, and they will stay the same. But most of the things on here cannot be resized like that so easily. And now we've got our last one. That means remodeling, huh? There we go. Those are all done. Now we just go through one by one, and we'll upload them all at once. Aren't there 6? Oh, there were 5. Yep. That's what I get for working when I'm overly tired. These upload. First one is roofing. title for it will be roofing, and we don't really have a link yet, and that's okay. We'll worry about that later. But we will say learn more in our link text, and we actually do want to have something in there just so that we can make sure that it's working. And I put things like google.com in there so that it's obviously wrong. That way I can make sure I eventually replace it with something that is correct. This is just junk text in there right now. They haven't figured out what they want to say yet, and so then it will be the same in all of them. And we click save, go on to the next one, do some water, update the image, it's gutters, google.com, learn more, put in some filler text, citing, choose an image of a Barney looking thing. By Barney I mean a barn-like object, not the purple dinosaur, of course. And windows and doors. That'll be a bit of a problem later on that it's a significantly longer word than some of the other ones. But remodeling is fairly long as well. And last, but certainly not least, we have remodeling. Now, we have all those done, and I have an extra image one just for fun. We need to have a... Oh man, I put all those in the wrong place. See how silly that was? Should have been in home-bottom. That's okay. And now we have them all down here. We need to have a text widget at the top for the title that says our services. There are other ways we could do this, but this is how we're going to do it. Now all these things that you are doing will be showing up here on this page, but none of them will look right now, and that's okay. They all look weird. It's strange to combine this with what was being done before, but you can trust me that this is still a better way to do it, even though it's going to look terrible at the moment. We have a quote section down here now. We are going to be using a plugin that I cannot think of the name of at the moment, and so I'm going to go look it up on one of our other websites real quick. I think we're using it on Backspace. So we will go sign in there. See what plugins we have. Quotes collection seems to be the one. Let me make sure. Yes, that is correct. So I will go and I will install that. I can just look it up here. I'll start having that be something that I have available just to upload beforehand rather than having to go through this process, but I haven't done that yet. So we've got it now. And then random quote. And then we will do this in footer 1. And we don't need to have that. We do want to have it set up though with the we want to have the author, source, think I will uncheck that. And we'll auto refresh every 10 seconds. We don't need a title on there. We click save. Might as well go ahead and show you how to do this. We'll add one new quote. This one's just going to be a sample one. And this won't show up correctly at the moment on the home page, really. I don't really need to copy these things over. But there we go. Add the quote. Should show up on that home page now. Doesn't look right. That's okay. Not everything needs to look right. And the last thing we have here is this second footer. We'll put that in the first footer. We're going to make a second footer here. And it's going to have a custom menu. That's what's on the left over here. And on the right, we're going to have a text widget. And now it's in there as well. The menu, we're just doing main again. Same menu as what's on the top, just showing up on the bottom. And then for the text, then we're just taking the same thing that we had in here on the before header section. Copy that. And then we click save. And that should be everything for the home page. No, it doesn't look right. That's okay. Like we said before, not everything needs to look right. We could send this to them right now. They'd probably be a little disappointed. I can come back in and get all these other things done. I don't expect you to do that. If you get it to this point, though, I'll be happy. And then it will mean less work for me. Not a huge amount less, but it's less work. Because I would normally be going through this a little faster than what I did in this video, of course. And you'll be a little slow doing it at first, and that's okay too. But it's, I think it'll be good. I think it's something that can be useful.